everyone. Welcome to another episode of Cryptocurrent. Your host here, Richard Carthon. And today we got a special guest working on a cool project that's going to actually help you be able to get even more crypto in your hands, and actually even have some breaking news to share with us at some point today. So for everyone listening, I want you to welcome Sameep with QuickSwap. How are you doing today?
Hey Richard, first of all, thanks for hosting me today here, and it's like wonderful talking to you, and I guess this particular piece is going to be a fun for both of us, and I'm doing good today. How are you?
Man, I'm doing well, can't complain. Even though we've kind of been in the currently this horizontal sideways movement in the crypto space, I think things are about to turn in a positive direction. So feeling pretty optimistic this morning. But before we dive into QuickSwap, I want to first learn more about you. Can you give us some background on yourself?
Yeah, of course, right. So like I am an engineer by heart, I would say, like to start with, because that's what I am. Right. So I'm an engineer by heart, software engineer, you can call me. So I've been working in the software industry for more than 10 years now. And I used to develop some hardcore backend stuff back in the days. But then in 2017, I decided to move on to crypto space, blockchain space, because I really love that industry. Right. So I moved on to it. And since then, it has been one hell of a ride, I would say. So I started as a freelancer in 2017. I worked on a lot of projects. And then I worked on ParaSwap, I worked on OpenBazaar, and then finally we decided to start QuickSwap, and we are here with QuickSwap, as you can see it. So I think I would like to brand myself as an engineer, and I love that.
Yeah. I mean, being an engineer is great, but you're also a pioneer in the fact that you got in so early and you were trying to help create and innovate to get there. And it's interesting, your journey, right? So you started as a freelancer, and what I think a lot of our listeners, some of them are freelancers, and to get to the path of where you're ultimately trying to be, I think freelance work can provide a couple of things. One, some income. Two, some experience. And then three, a kind of a opportunity to see how different companies are trying to create their business, and it allows you a lot more, a 10,000 square foot view of how everything is kind of coming together to be made. And I think that probably provided a ton of insight for you in how you created QuickSwap. So let's talk about that for a moment. Like, what was the inspiration for QuickSwap, and what did you identify as a challenge, and what is it helping to fix?
Cool. So as I said, I started as a freelancer, right? So when I started as a freelancer, honestly speaking, I knew nothing about blockchain. Right? So I was more into Java space and developing applications on top of that. But hopefully, I'm not sure from where it came, but a project came to my hand which was related to blockchain, and I really love doing it, right? So since then, I've been working into the blockchain space, and it's a good, I would say it's a good ride. And if you are a freelancer, like any of the listeners, you should definitely choose this path and at least give it a try, I would say. Now, not talking more about QuickSwap, right? So as I said, I was into this blockchain industry for quite some time. I started my journey in 2017. So I've been doing a lot of service-based projects, right? I'm mostly into DeFi space. So I started my DeFi journey in 2018, in the very beginning when DeFi was just starting up, right? And in 2019, I was more into DeFi. I was more into ParaSwap, doing a lot of stuff, a lot of integration. So I had a good grasp of what DeFi is. And then I got to understand, that DeFi is the core of any platform, right? Not just for any business, any financial aspect, but you need DeFi if you want to build anything. Even if you want to build a gaming infrastructure or an NFT infrastructure, any infrastructure, DeFi is the core of it, right? So I was looking to build something, right? I had that itching in myself. I want to build something. And then earlier last year, in 2020, in March, the Ethereum prices were very low. I think somewhere around 90 to 100 US dollars. And then from there, it started going up, right? The COVID was going up, and the Ethereum prices and the entire crypto industry was going up as well, right? So basically, the Ethereum ecosystem was getting a lot of traction from the people, right? A lot of new projects were coming in. A lot of DeFi was happening at that time. Uniswap was growing big. Balancer came in, and Aave came in, Curve came in, Compound came in, Synthetics came in. A lot of projects came in. So basically, the adoption was increasing, and with this increased adoption, the price of Ethereum was going up, right? And the transaction cost was also going up. So in March, if you want to do a transaction on Uniswap, it would cost you in some pennies, I would say, some cents, not even $1 in March, right? But it kept on going up, right? With each passing day, it was increasing exponentially, I would say, right? And somewhere in July or August, the Ethereum prices were 400 US dollar, if I'm not wrong. But and the gas prices were as well 50 to 100 going at that time. So transaction cost was very expensive. So if I want to do a transaction on a blockchain, it was very expensive. So basically the blockchain was becoming a thing for the rich, I would say, right? People like me, small traders or small users, they couldn't use it because like I have to think twice. So even I had to think twice at that time. If I want to do a transaction on Uniswap, I had to think twice whether I should do it or not, whether it's a meaningful transaction or not, right? And if I want to do a very small transaction, let's suppose I want to do swap $100 worth of ETH to DAI, and if I have to pay 10 or 15 US dollar as a fees, I'm not going to do that because that's almost 10% of in transaction cost. That's very high. So even if I want to do a $100 transaction and if I have to pay, $1,000 transaction, and if I have to pay $10 as a fee, it's still 1%, still too high, right? So basically, the Ethereum ecosystem, this DeFi ecosystem was, becoming thing of the rich, right? And the whole point of doing this DeFi, doing this NFT, this gaming, was to bring next 1 million users into the decentralized space, right? Because we see the future of the world to like it's a mix of decentralized and centralized, right? So we wanted to bring next 1 million users to the decentralized world, to make it decentralized, right? And that's not going to happen if we have to pay a high transaction cost. So then, we tried to figure out how we can subsidize this, how we can build a platform which anybody can use without thinking twice about the fees, about the transaction cost, about the transaction time, because on Ethereum transaction times were high as well, right? To be minimum, it's somewhere around 15 seconds if you are using the very fast gas price, right? And if you are using a medium gas price, can take minutes or even hours, or sometimes it gets dropped as well. Right. So that's not a good UX in my opinion. That's not a good user experience. So we wanted to, enhance this user experience, because then only you will get next 1 million users to the blockchain. Otherwise, you will not get 1 million users to the blockchain, right?
Right. And real quick,
I won't use it.
And real quick, I definitely want to interject here because I think this is very, very important where a lot of people miss this, and this especially for the newbie. So if you have not had the opportunity to use a thing like Uniswap yet, so let's say, for example, you're using something like MetaMask, you have some Ethereum in there, and you're trying to buy some within the Ethereum ecosystem, you're trying to transfer it to something else. Now, to do that, you're going to have a fee, to set up your wallet just to allow it to have the transaction. Then you have to have the money on deck to then create to have the swap that you want to do. Then you're gonna have another fee for gas and to get all of that done. And at some points you were having to spend $100+ just to change whatever money you wanted into something else. So even if you wanted to change $10 into $10 of something else, you were still having to pay like $100 just to have that done. And it's not sustainable. Like you're saying, it's DeFi was meant for the people, it was meant for anybody, the next million people to come on. And it was technically at that moment only for the rich, only for the extremely wealthy, which is defeating the whole purpose. So I definitely just want to spend a moment to re-emphasize the importance of fixing that problem, because it is a significant one. And sorry, I'm gonna give it back to you, but I wanted to just re-emphasize how important it is that gets addressed.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for emphasizing on it, because that's why we created QuickSwap. We wanted to fix user experience problem. We knew that that Uniswap is great, and we love Uniswap. Even I use Uniswap these days as well. It's great, but we wanted to fix this user experience problem. Where you don't have to think twice about the price, the transaction cost, and the transaction time. So then we realized, we want to build an infrastructure on layer 2 solutions, where all set of applications can come and they don't worry about the transaction cost. And the first thing that's needed for all that infrastructure to be built is a decentralized exchange. That's the first requirement, because and we see that. So any new project that comes to Polygon, they first come to us even before they launch. They come to us because they want to have their token listed somewhere. They want a place where people can trade for their tokens, right? They can buy their tokens to, if it's a gaming platform, user should be able to buy a token somewhere to use that token within the game, right? Same for NFT and same for any other platform. So then we realized this in August last year, that if layer 2 has to survive, or we have to bring next 1 million users, then we need a DEX, which is useful for everyone, which anybody can use without thinking twice about it. So then we decided we need to fork Uniswap, right? And we chose Polygon. At that time it was Matic. They rebranded to Polygon somewhere in January, I guess. So it was Matic, right? So I have been working on Matic for quite some time, before their mainnet was launched as well. So I had a very good experience with their team. I had a very good experience developing on their ecosystem. So that's why I personally chose let's try this with Matic, right? And then we discussed this with the Matic team, and we discussed with we created our own team. Rock came on board, LDA basically, and they are our marketing advisors, and they are a great marketing team. So everyone Rock, and Rock is a co-founder as well. Rock, Nicole, Dave, right? Tyler, Rocky, like everyone, they are fantastic people, right? So like one of the best marketers I have seen like in my whole life so far. Right.
Yeah.
So they do a great job. So we created a team, right? And then we decided, let's do this, right? And we forked Uniswap and like we deployed this on Polygon. The one thing like that we focused more on was the security aspect, right? We wanted to solve this user experience problem, but not as the cost of security. So we wanted to inherit the same security model which Uniswap had at that time, and it was battle tested as well. So we decided we will not change even a single line of code, even a single letter in the smart contract of Uniswap, because that's where its security come from, right? So we didn't do that. We didn't change anything, and like we are proud of that. Like that's why we are so secure. We are as secure as Uniswap, like we say that, right? So we did that. We deployed Uniswap, like which is QuickSwap on Polygon, and like we started like, let's see like what happens, right? And then we started with it. There were a lot of problems in the beginning because like Polygon ecosystem was also very new at that particular time. There were not many projects like those were like who were coming to Polygon. There were not many tools out there at that time. So like we built some of our tools like by ourselves, right? So at that time, like Graph protocol was not there, and we wanted to show analytics. So we launched our own Graph like version of Graph nodes, right? And we like we were the first to bring analytics onto the Polygon network. So we did a lot of innovating stuff over there as well, a lot of like ecosystem development. And finally, we launched QuickSwap in October last year, right? And since then, it has been a great ride. Like, and the biggest thing is we see people doing a swap of even $1. Like, and when I see that, that people are doing a swap of $1, it gives me so much satisfaction because that is what we wanted to achieve, right? Allowing users to do a swap as less as $1 or even less than that, right? And that's happening. So we were like getting somewhere around 600,000 transactions each day. Like that was an amount of transactions that we were getting, right? The volume was not that high as compared to Uniswap. Volume was somewhere around 800 million US dollar. The number of transactions was 600,000 transactions. So like it basically shows like how many users are actually using it. So even the very base users are using it for the smaller transaction. That's why like volume is not high, but number of transactions are so high.
Right. And honestly, it's amazing because you have opportunities to keep the growth going. And the fact that, me even listening to this, that someone has the ability to swap something as small as $1 and it still makes sense and it's still feasible. Like that's encouraging to me to even come on and see how I could use this, because like as much as I do enjoy Uniswap, their fees have tore me up in the past. And so if I can come on here and you're saying I can greatly reduce my fees, which means my margins for how much money I actually get to keep is highly enticing to me. So I guess the first question I have is, this sounds great. Let's say that someone wants to be able to save some more money on their fees and when they're swapping and everything else, and they want to use QuickSwap. What does that look like? If someone wants to go and use QuickSwap right now, walk me through how that process works.
The process is simple, right? But it's well, honestly speaking, it's still that user friendly. We are working like to fix that problem. But we wanted to fix like all UX problem, and the first UX problem that we wanted to solve is like transaction cost and the transaction time, because we thought this is the biggest problem, right? The biggest hindrance, right? So the next set of problems that we are trying to solve is like improve user onboarding, right? To improve the entire process of doing a swap on QuickSwap. So if I'm a user and if I'm doing a swap on QuickSwap, it should be as easy as using Robinhood. Like that's what we are targeting right now, right? But right now, if you want to do a swap on QuickSwap, like I think you just need to go to our exchange website. There are different type of wallets which you can connect to. You can connect to Coinbase, you can connect to MetaMask, you can connect to Fortmatic, you can connect to Venly, and you can connect to Portis as well, right? So all these wallets we support, so you can connect to any of these wallets, right? So if you have funds on, let's say on Ethereum, there's a bridge as well. You can bridge your funds or your assets from Ethereum to Polygon if you want to do that. And if you don't have any funds, if you want to like buy funds directly on like Polygon layer 2 solution, you can either do that through exchanges, because a lot of exchanges now support Polygon. So Binance support Polygon now. I think OKX supports Polygon, SNDX support Polygon. So you can go to those exchanges, buy funds. If you don't want to do that, you can like directly buy different assets on QuickSwap as well using on-ramp services. So right now we support Transact. So we are like in discussion with other like big on-ramp service providers as well, and soon you will like see them over there as well. So once you have like your funds and your wallet set up, you can like simply go over there and start swapping assets. And like it's as easy as like what doing on Robinhood. Like not that easy, but swapping is very easy. You don't have to worry about the transaction cost and transaction time. You just swap. There is virtually $0 fees, and the transaction is confirmed in a blink of an eye.
Which is extremely great and powerful, and something I am going to be looking more into. I've had a lot of people. One, I'm also a Polygon-matic fan and have seen its rise. And its ecosystem is very strong. And for reasons like this, being able to do these transactions quickly at a good cost and securely. And I think a lot of people are really looking forward to being able to have more of that kind of experience as the greater crypto world continues to expand. But I also heard that you had some pretty good news come out about QuickSwap recently. Do you want to share that?
Yeah, of course. Thanks for letting me share that. So we recently got listed on Binance. It happened this morning itself. Even I didn't know that we got listed on Binance. One of our partners told me that, hey, Sameep, we got listed on Binance. I was like, what? And then he shared the announcement with me, and I'm so happy, guy. So happy, because getting listed on Binance is one thing, but this validates that what we are doing is right, and it is actually making a difference, right? And it is actually needed. That's why exchange, Binance is on the top exchanges. They listed us, and we didn't know about it. So it's great. It's one of the biggest achievements for QuickSwap till this date, and we are looking forward to more such achievements in the future. But that's the biggest news I would say that a QuickSwap had in recent months.
That's amazing. Congratulations. That is big news. If someone wanted to find your ticker on Binance, what does that look like?
It's Quick. It's QUICK. So the symbol that we have, it's the same ticker on Binance as well. And it's even bigger for us because QuickSwap is not even a year old now, right? So we started in October, and right now we are sitting in July, right? So in 7 to 8 months' time, we are listed on Binance. So I think we are doing good. The community is doing good. So because another point I would like to focus here is QuickSwap has grown organically. From the very beginning, it has grown organically. So our community is wonderful, is awesome. They are supporting us since day one. I haven't seen any other community doing that. And each cent that is there in the QuickSwap TVL, it's not inorganic. Everything is organic. Everything has been put up by the community members or by the different institutions without contacting us or without we reaching out to them that, guys, let's do this, let's do that, right? So I think we are one of the only exchanges who has achieved this organically.
Yeah, and congratulations.
Of course, we had a lot of support. We had a lot of support from Polygon team, right? They supported us a lot from the very beginning, and I'm thankful to them for that.
Definitely. And, it speaks to all the hard work and what it means to build a really good team, kind of like you're highlighting earlier, of being able to have the right people in place to bring everything together, get it out to your community, have it work. Because if it's, you're getting that amount of transactions organically without doing a whole lot of promotion, it just speaks to solving a core problem that's out there and people identifying and wanting to use. So, kudos to y'all. Keep up the good work. And, we were talking about DeFi earlier, and we were talking about, how do we keep expanding and getting to mass crypto adoption? And I think DeFi is a good path to doing that because it allows a lot of financial access to tools that most people in the world don't have. How do you think DeFi is going to continue to evolve over the years, and as we continue to become a more mature crypto, mature crypto audience?
Yeah, so I think, as I said before, so DeFi is a base layer of achieving anything. If you want to create an ecosystem, DeFi is a base layer, because without DeFi, it's virtually impossible, right? And I think there is still a lot of innovation which has to come into the DeFi. What we are looking at right now, it's the very beginning, I would say. So DeFi is still in its very early stages, or I would say nascent stages, right? So we still need to, in my personal opinion, we still need to fix a lot of user experience problems, because see, at the end, users are everything to the ecosystem. If they are not satisfied, if they are not able to use a protocol, even if that protocol is, I'm not sure, even if it's very good algorithmically, from contracts perspective, or anything, but if users are not able to use it, it's a waste of time, I would say, right? So we still need to solve a lot of user experience problem, lot of onboarding stuff, which DeFi or the ecosystem at large has to solve. right? It should be as easy for a user to come and use any of the DeFi platform as like we are right now using our, let's say, Robinhood or other applications out there, right? I simply go to the application, I log in over there, and I start using it. I don't have to worry about wallets. I don't have to worry about gas fees. I don't have to worry about moving my assets, all that stuff. It's all built like within that particular application. So I think DeFi still has to mature a lot, and we are seeing that, right? We are seeing a lot of V2s and V3s. So Uniswap started with V1, then they moved on to V2, we forked V2, and now they have V3 as well. So it basically shows how fast the DeFi space is maturing, right? Even Aave has V2 now, even Curve has V2 now, even Balancer has V2 now, right? Same with Synthetics. So every protocol is maturing. Like in every 6 months, we see a new version. So basically, it tells us that DeFi is maturing up. Like it's growing from the nascent stage to, I would say, to as adolescent, right? So like I think we are on the right track right now, and we just need to keep building and like keep solving all the user experience problems. So like if we target user experience as the core of developing anything, we'll definitely hit a point where like DeFi is like de facto to do anything.
Agreed. And like you're saying, that user experience is so crucial. But when you think about where we are, like, yes, we're in our first decade of cryptocurrency and everything that's been going on with it, but we're still so early. We still have so much to build. We still have there's so much foundation work being built right now. So when you get to a point to where something is as simple as you said, as Robinhood, I think we're still a couple of years out from that, because there's so many there's so many bridges that have to be built and have to build securely, quickly, and everything else, that it's going to take some time. All of this takes time, but the fact is that whoever can help figure that out and bring that kind of experience the quickest, those are going to be your winners. And I am very much a fan of companies who have that forward thinking, that intuitive experience that they're trying to create for their users, so that anyone can pick it up and immediately know how to do that. So I think it's great that that's your focus. I think that's the right focus. And thank you for that insight. As we kind of wrap up here, man, there's two questions I'd like to ask that I think bring a lot of insight, one into yourself, but then can give a lot of value back to our own listeners. So if you could take all the knowledge that you have right now and can impart 2 to 3 pieces of wisdom when you first started in this space, what would you tell yourself?
Okay, so when I first started, like as I said, I had no knowledge of blockchain, right? So I like started working on out of blue, right? So, and when I started working on, like the first thing that I saw was a lot of opportunity in this particular space, because like as I said, I'm an engineer, right? I'm a developer, and when I started looking out for resources, I didn't find any resource over there, right? So there were very, very scarce resources over there. Even though I wanted to learn Solidity, and there was nothing out there, just bits and pieces. And out of those bits and pieces, I learned like whatever I could learn, and then I like put myself into a practical use. And then I compared this with other technologies, right? With Java technology, with .NET, like all the other traditional technologies which were there. And then I thought to myself, like this question came to myself that, Sameep, you are in a very early stage of something which is going to be which has a great future, right? So I am like sitting at a very nascent stage. When I started, blockchain or the Ethereum was at its nascent stage. And then I like thought this to myself, that if I keep doing this right now until for let's say next 5 or 10 years or like 15 years. So after 10 years, the amount of knowledge or experience that I'll have, no one will have, because like I am there since day one. It's more like, you are like looking at a baby's growth since its very early stages, since day one, right. Day two, right? So I still think, we are in the very early stages of blockchain, right? And this is a great enough motivation for anyone to work, to get into an industry which you can see a great future. It has a great future ahead, right? And it's still very nascent. So if you pick this stuff or this industry at this stage, just assume after 10 years, right, when this is a mainstream thing, and you have been in this industry since its very early stages, since when it was a baby, right? So how it has become what it is now after 10 years. You have seen all the development stage, all the hard times, every crash you have seen, every big bump you have seen, like every bubble you have seen, right? Everything you have seen, right? So you are one of the, I would say you will become an OG, right? One of the OGs of like blockchain space. And I think that for me, that's the biggest motivation, because after 10 years, I can see myself being, one of the like biggest people over here. Not me, not myself, but my project as well, like QuickSwap as well. And like that's the biggest motivation for me to adopt this technology as early as possible. And I'm happy for that.
And that's great. And, I like to think in larger time horizons. So I've had a lot of mentors. I've had a lot of people who've come on this show who have the insight and the fortitude, kind of like you said, and look at this more as a long-term play. A lot of people, when they enter a new type of technology or a new type of environment, they see it as how can I get as much money as I can in a short amount of time, be in and out, and get back to something more secure and less risky. But risk goes away the more time that goes into it and the more validation and the more infrastructure that goes into it. So like you said, if you're around people who are looking at that long-term horizon and knowing that like, okay, I am going to make this choice right now to be one of those people. So when the rest of the world catches up in the next decade, they're going to be like, oh, this person clearly knows what they're talking about. They've been around for the last 10 plus years. And that's how I feel about that as well. And the best way that you can kind of get that knowledge, personally for me, it's just through having great conversations with individuals like yourself. So I appreciate that insight. I'm sure my audience is going to appreciate that as well. So thank you for that. But, as we wrap up here, Sameep, we've had a ton of great discussions, a ton of great things that we've learned from you. But what is a final thought that you want to leave with everyone here today?
Okay. So my final wrapping thoughts are, so guys, I'm like this. I'm up for this particular industry, especially for Ethereum ecosystem, right? And this particular ecosystem, in my opinion, is going to survive because Ethereum is not a speculative stuff, right? It's something which has actual use case. A lot of adoption is happening. A lot of great products are being built, and this is something which this planet needs. One more thing I would want to clarify. There's a lot of talk which happens about traditional finance and decentralized finance, decentralized finance, battling with traditional finance and traditional finance battling with DeFi. I think that's not true. I think this world has a space for both traditional finance and decentralized finance. So don't think of decentralized finance as a competition to traditional finance or traditional finance as a competition to decentralized finance, because when you think more from the perspective of competing to someone, you lose your creativity because now you focus entirely on competing with that particular entity, right? And you lose your innovative mind, right? So in my opinion, instead of doing a competition, we should focus more towards innovation, because a lot of people are focusing more on competition with decentralized finance and traditional finance. But I personally think that both are going to survive, decentralized finance as well, traditional finance as well. We will have a bridge between them. They will both coexist and work with each other. But I think, if everyone starts thinking from that perspective, because right now what happens is everybody start competing, right? If it's a gaming industry, they start competing with a traditional gaming industry or a decentralized gaming. Same for NFT, same for finance as well. But I think that's wrong. We should not do that, because that inhibits innovation. We should think of ways where both can coexist, because honestly speaking, you can't expect banks to go away in 10 years, right? And everything to be replaced by decentralized finance. That's not going to happen, right? That's not how things will work. Banks will exist, but they will start adopting the decentralized finance as well. And similarly, decentralized finance will start adopting banks as well. So I think we should look out for use cases where both can coexist instead of competing with them, right? We should find out a solution where both can coexist. I think that's my last thoughts, because if we think from that perspective, we can achieve a lot, I would say.
I think that's a great final thought. The world's going to have to keep adapting to the new opportunities that are out there. We're definitely moving to a more technological base, but at the end of the day, we still need the physical ways to transact. And so that human element's going to need there. And it's to just upend an entire financial institution in the course of basically 20 years, pretty hard to do. So I agree that that's going to continue to still be around, but it's going to be the innovators, the ones that are able to keep blending and coexist and keep building these bridges so that everything plays nicely together. Those are going to be the winners. So again, I think that is a great final thought. Thank you so much for sharing that. For people that want to learn more about QuickSwap and learn more about yourself, what are ways that people can connect with you?
So there are a lot of ways. You can go to Telegram, to our official account. You can connect over there. You can directly ping me as well on Telegram, or you can go to our Twitter page. We are pretty much active, very active on Twitter as well. You can post your questions, queries over there as well. Then we have a Reddit account as well, and we have recently started our Discord as well. And we are pretty much active on Discord as well. So either you can go to Discord, Telegram, Twitter, or Reddit, and you can get in touch with us.
Great. And we'll make sure to include those links in the show notes. But again, Sameep, thank you so much for spending time, dropping all the knowledge. And of course, for everyone listening, stay cryptocurrent. Today's podcast is brought to you by QuickSwap, the next-gen Layer 2 DEX. You can trade at lightning fast speeds with near zero gas fees. QuickSwap is powered by Polygon on the Ethereum network, formerly known as Matic. QuickSwap was recently listed on Binance, so if you look for the ticker QUICK, you will be able to find them. For more information, you go to quickswap.exchange. Again, that is quickswap.exchange. And now for today's episode.